All right. Hey, this is Michaela B from The Challenge, and I'm here on the Zach Nichols podcast. Tune in.
Welcome back to the Zach Nichols podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Zach Nichols. That guy.
Still gets me. More importantly, though.
We got a very, very special guest here. The strong, the bold, the beautiful Miss Michaela B in the house tonight.
Hello.
Hey. Another Survivor lady, challenge finalist, all the above. Thanks for coming to Detroit.
Yay. I'm happy to be back here.
Yeah, it's been fun. Tiffany's showing you around a little bit.
Yeah, we had a good time this morning.
That's great. That's great. We watched 39 last night.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
We did. It was quite interesting and quite a few
Mike, you know
people.
what? I have one question.
Okay.
Why are you not there? Easy money.
I value my mental health. I did Survivor back to back, and it landed me on a therapist chair.
Feel
So
that.
I was like, let me go home and go back to my real life for a little bit. So shout out to Michelle.
Yeah, shout out to Michelle for doing four in a row.
Yeah. Do you look at this season now and think I could have gone there and just dominated?
No, I don't.
Come on.
Most of those people.
That's the humility speaking.
No, most of those people I don't know. There's several of them like that were on Spies, Lies, and Allies, but there's the majority of them I don't know. I don't have any connection to, and I don't want to go into a house like leaning on somebody else for connections. Like that's too much work.
Right.
So I'd rather it be a lot of people that are starting from square one.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have certain people that have a bunch of connections with everybody, and then certain people that the majority of the house doesn't know, that's just a lot to work up from. I
And
don't like
they
that.
didn't, before they filmed this, they didn't get to watch USA 2. So
Yeah,
they didn't know, like,
exactly.
okay. Like, cause, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, if y'all two know each other and you know a little about me, you're gonna think about me whatever he tells you, and now I have to overcome whatever he just said. So
Right.
that's the type of social game that puts me a bit behind because
But
I
you
take
whooped ass.
Yeah.
So if I see USA 2 and then I go into, let's say I'm on a season with you, I'm gonna probably have a conversation like, hey, listen, you get no problems from me because you won over half of the individual challenges. Am
Yeah.
I right? Like you had 4 individual
Yeah.
wins. Yeah.
That's if you see it though. But
Right.
if
And
you
I'm saying,
don't-
right, that's what I'm saying. They didn't
point.
see it yet, so that
No.
would be a good reason why not to do 39. But don't you think you could go in there and probably kick some ass for a couple challenges, and then it's like
Yeah.
you might have to go into one elimination round.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll always be easier for me to like find allies in men.
Now,
Yeah.
especially.
Than in women. I think for women, there's dynamics people don't talk about. One, it's when they look at you, like, do they think you can beat them in something? But then it's like, do they feel like you're prettier than them? Is your body nicer in this way or the other? I think for a woman, there's a lot of things that come into play that can affect how the degree to which women want to work
Does
with
a
you.
guy like Michaela more than he likes me?
Yeah, most people. I mean, I give off no romantic vibes in these situations, so that'll never be the case.
Okay.
But it's little things like, you know, how you dress in the house. Like if you notice, Challenge Challenge USA, I'm always looking a bum mess in the house. Like my
Appreciate
clothes are
that.
baggy.
Not in the interviews. You look,
Not in the
you look
interviews,
fine
right?
as wine in some of them interviews.
Well, thank you. But in the house, like I intentionally dress baggy. You never see
Right.
me lifting weight in the gym.
Yep.
Like all of that is intentional because I'm trying to keep my threat level low. Because
Gotcha.
there's a very thin line I have to navigate, especially if I feel like I'm going to need to win something or do well in a challenge. So, you know, coming into a game where some people know everybody, I know basically nobody, maybe one or two people who are likely going to start off on the bottom. That's too much. And then to go back to back, like, nah, I need to go back to work. I want to get centered and grounded.
Yeah,
like I need
for
to
sure.
go.
Well, the rumor is that you have been like in extreme demand, that they had wanted you for everything since Spies, Lies, and Allies. Is that true?
Yeah, I've gotten a call basically every year for something, but there's been a lot of stuff going on in my own personal life, and I make a conscious choice, like, is this the best thing to do?
So
And
you're not all about the money then.
no, like life is so much bigger. Like, you know, I'm single. I don't want to be single forever. You know, when you do these shows, one, you have to see what shows up on TV, but then you have to like decompress and get back regular. You might have a little high anxiety when you come back. Nobody wants to date you with high anxiety, looking over your shoulder,
Well,
being extra. You know what I'm saying?
also, I know this from not dating because I haven't dated in like 7 years, but long time. But like what I noticed with a lot of relationships, just personal relationships with people, when you meet them, let's say if they've seen you on TV before you've met them, you're getting an honest read on how you feel about them, but they come into the situation, the relationship with, I know who this person is because of the 12 minutes that I saw over 4 episodes of what they were doing. So like that's why a lot of times like I always would just keep to myself in my inner circle, because I'm like, when you meet someone and they already think they know who you are and they're judging you already or giving you attitude, you're just like, what? So I get that 100%, and I did take a break, but I also did like 5 in a row and then 4 in a row, like nonstop.
I couldn't,
because I'm a little bit more greedy, I guess. I'm about the money.
I'm like, you know what? Let me just go back to the slow money, have this little W-2.
Yeah.
It's nice to have both, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I finally found a place that will allow me to, take off, go do something, and then come back. So I just want to have that balance and want to make sure that I don't give up every other thing in life that I'm pursuing in order to do a show, unless it's going to be very worth it. And it's got to come with more than $250,000 as a grand prize.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's not enough. That's just enough to like not work for 1.5 years, maybe.
Right.
and then you got to figure out something else, like, where's those $1 million prizes again? Let's bring those back.
Yeah,
right.
Never won one, but those were nice to know that you could have chanced it. Wow.
We'll see. Well, you definitely did speak to something which is important, which is like the real reason why I really, really wanted to have you on. And when we discussed it, we're like, if she'll come, it's a no-brainer, is because we want to pull back the curtain and find out a little bit more about Michaela, because, people might see, you dominating here and then not talking to someone here and being a cold face to someone there. But I know from just the people that I've talked to that you are very bubbly, you are very funny, and I want everybody to see that because it's important.
Thanks.
No, for sure.
Well, there's no competition when you're in like I always tell you, when you're there 24/7, 7 days a week, it's a competition. So every time someone says something to you, if you don't think about it for a second before you respond, you can kind of catch yourself in a bad spot. You know what I'm saying? So like that's the thing, you're not going to waste. A lot of people, like I was like that. I didn't like to waste words when I was there. So if it got to a point where I absolutely knew there was no coming back from a certain person, I don't even really if I was in a room, they were in a room and I knew they didn't like me, they weren't there to me. I could literally be in a kitchen with someone else and not say a word and be completely okay with it, because I'm like, you don't want me to win this money, so what do I have to say to you? When there's a line is drawn, you're like, whatever.
Absolutely. You ready to get to the nitty gritty?
Let's get into it.
We're gonna ask the tough questions right away.
Go ahead.
What happened in that final?
What happened in the final? Oh, I passed out.
You did.
In there.
So backstory. 2022 had a lot of things that went on for me. Like, I found a relative dead, basically. I did a funeral. Yeah, it was a lot of crazy stuff. And actually, the reason I didn't go on, what was that one? That one that filmed last summer.
Was that Ride or Dies?
Ride or Dies.
Yeah.
It was a last minute decision. I just felt something off inside, and I just didn't go. I lost a friend over that, long story short. But during the time I would have been...
Well, then they weren't a real friend, but sorry.
They came back. They realized the error of their ways. But basically, during that time that I would have been filming, I got some estate planning stuff taken care of for an older relative, and then I found them dead, like, immediately after.
Also, that was meant to be.
It was meant to be me here and not there. Yeah. So I spent the second half of 2022, like, funeral, settling someone's estate, and then had a car accident and, like, got rear-ended by a truck. And so I was in physical therapy like December, January, February, March, and then went to film the beginning of April. Gotcha. So I was not in good shape physically, and I was hiding it the whole time. I was in pain a lot of the time that I was there, but you don't want to tell people because then they'll target you.
Right.
So long story short, I was really trying to save myself. That's why I tried to play a little behind the scenes a little bit so that I wasn't thrown into elimination, because there's no way my body could have handled doing a challenge in the day and then doing elimination that night and then being off a day and going back to another challenge.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to the final, like, I was struggling already, and then it was you didn't really sleep well at night. You slept outside basically.
know.
You didn't eat much,
Mhm.
Yep.
you know. And then that second checkpoint, I skipped it and had to like run an extra mile and a half. I
Yep.
was trying to catch up to Desi in a darn truck.
Right.
And so my body just gave out after that third checkpoint. Like I knew she had won. I knew Chanel was second, and I drank some water and I woke up and I was on the ground and they were like, Michaela, you're done. Congratulations. Great season.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. So they pull you.
They pulled
Okay,
me.
and you
yeah.
can't. Yeah, you're not gonna. And at that point, it's like you're not gonna win any money.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. And so that's what happened. I didn't realize that I had passed out. Like I saw myself falling and then I woke up and I was on the ground and everybody was hovering around me.
Yeah.
And I was like, why chill out? Why y'all so stressed? I'm just taking a break. And they were like, no. And then here comes the emergency people. And I'm like, oh, y'all doing this for TV. This is too much. Like,
Right.
you could just let me go. How
Just give
far
me a
are you from-
Nutrigrain
Well,
bar
yeah.
and a
Anytime-
glass of orange juice.
Yeah, anytime you pass out, though, they check your vitals.
Yeah.
It happened when my daughter was delivered. I passed out too. Same thing. I was like,
it's
in
a
my
lot.
actually it was during the epidural. In my head, I'm like, okay. I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick because I saw the needle, and I was like in the bathroom, and I'm like, you know what? This floor is tile. I'm gonna lay down. It's gonna feel good.
I'm gonna lay down.
That's how I felt like it went in my head. How it actually happened was I fell, my head hit the bathroom door, I flung out into the room, and I woke up with like cops in there, the ICU,
Whoa.
and I was like, oh no, I'm fine. And but same thing, they wanted to like do concussion protocol, and I was like, yeah, no, not missing the birth of my daughter.
Yeah.
So, but I know what you're saying, where like in your head, you're like, oh, I'm just taking a break, and then you wake
Yeah.
up and you're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Kind of feels good though, like the pass out part. If I'm not-
Yeah. I'm like, I'm good.
The release, right? Just like
I was like, they were like, no, Michaela, you fainted, blah, blah, blah. And I was like,
Low
and then-
blood sugar.
And then the guy was like, yeah, it's the elevation and this, that, and the third, and you're dehydrated because I ran out of water. Chanel was actually giving me her water. That's why we ended up at the third checkpoint together
Yeah.
because I was drinking her water. But yeah, they were like, yeah, you're this, that, and the third. I was like, well, just give me some food then, because I read in the rules you're not allowed to have food during the final. And I was like, well, give me some food and I'll be fine. And they
Yeah.
gave me some food and I was like, I'm good now. And they're like, no, you're not.
So like you, but beforehand, like you didn't like go into the season training.
No,
You just showed up like I'm
I
here to
just showed
film,
up,
just kind of
like-
roll the dice.
Yeah, I was like,
Wow.
That's
you
impressive
know,
because
I was gonna say that I'm gonna just say what all the fans are thinking. Like, if that's 75 or 70 or 80% of Michaela, we do not want to see 100%. It's gonna be bad news.
you know, if I actually trained, I would probably be able to run these 10 miles. But in the past 5 years, I don't know if I've run more than 4 miles at one time. And
Okay.
yeah, no.
so
I don't run.
had you trained, would you have doubled down on the sled drag?
Had I been thinking, I would have doubled down on
Yeah.
the sled drag. Like there,
Yeah, you didn't
don't
work out and you had the
understand.
highest lactic acid threshold of all the female
Man,
competitors.
and I won by a landslide on
Yeah.
that. And TJ was like, anybody else? When Corey was like, I'll double down. TJ's like, anybody else gonna double
Like,
down?
look like
So he saw it, he knew. That's okay. So yeah.
I'm like, who? And I remember I asked Chanel, should I double down? And she just looked at me.
Like I'm not gonna tell you that.
not
Yeah.
gonna tell you to win, right?
She just looked at me, and I'm like, and then he just said, okay, go. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I didn't do it.
Wait a second. Did you beat Bananas up the rope ladder?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
Bananas beat me just by a little bit, but I was
Okay.
trying to keep up with him the whole time.
You
They made it
sure
look
did.
like you were just absolutely dusting him up that
No,
thing.
no. He
Okay.
was just above me, and I was
Yeah.
trying to keep up with him. He's fast and good at a lot of stuff. Actually, I
He's
see
like-
why he's won so many times.
He's like a gym teacher.
Really?
Like no, just think about this though. All those games are like weird games that like if you play them for a while, you get good at them.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say like he's like the gym teacher who will like take you outside and like dominate in softball and then beat you in badminton left-handed. Like he's just like he's done it so long. He's
Yeah.
like the gym teacher. You're like I'm
Right.
gonna kill this old man, and then he does. You're just
He's
like
good.
yeah.
Me and him are the only ones who had to run the whole course in the
know.
final.
Mm-hmm.
And he passed me about halfway to the third checkpoint, and he was just going. Like he just had his little pace,
Right.
and he was just going. And I'm like, I'm sitting here with a stick wobbling.
This is
Yeah,
full
well,
time.
he trained. Yeah,
It's
it's
just
trained.
full time job since he was graduated from Penn State. So
Well, I guess I expect that of him then. But it made me like, okay, I see why you're great.
So let's.
for sure.
I love hearing that. We're definitely going to talk about your relationship with Johnny, but let's talk about the scale checkpoint. So did you guys get you and Desi? Did you guys get there at the same point?
Yeah.
And she was just the aggressor in that situation.
Yeah,
Gotta be more
I
greedy.
probably got there maybe a couple seconds before her. So we did the second part of the run together. Like she met me the second part, and I was like, well, hell, we both in first, so like we can take a break and walk a little bit,
Right.
whatever. But when I saw the second checkpoint, I took off running and got there first. I'm very literal. When they told us the rules, they said you have to stop in front of the sign, you have to read the whole sign, and then like whoever reads the sign first, that's who gets there first. So clearly I got there first. I read the whole sign, and then Desi just goes behind me to the station. So I'm sitting there basically asking production, like, because the cameras are in front of the sign, right? So I read it, and I'm like, okay, and now what do I do? And Desi had just walked behind me and went to the scale, and I was like, wait a minute, y'all said you have to read the sign. And they're like,
That's some
Yeah.
bullshit.
yeah.
Wow.
So then I see Johnny's at one scale, Desi's at the other. And the way I interpreted the sign is it said you have to balance it. So I'm thinking the scale has to be like this.
Right, yeah.
So when I saw it on TV and like Chanel's was like this,
It
and they're
just
like,
couldn't touch the
right.
ground. Yeah.
That's not what the sign said. The sign said balance. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to know how to balance this thing? And then I got to wait for one of them to finish. And if they get it right and I get it wrong, then I've just
That's so
yeah,
dirty.
I just didn't understand.
You're
I
a rule
thought
follower.
Yeah, I'm a very much a rule follower.
Yeah, ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Not permission. Yeah, so
And it works for some people, but other people, like, you know, he had an elimination where he, you know, asked, you know, kind of got eliminated on some BS, and then, you know, we see what happened to Fessy. So like, that's why you follow rules, right?
Yeah.
And it's tough.
Well, Fessy
'cause,
didn't
you
read
know,
a sign.
Yeah.
but I think Fessy knew he was going the wrong way. And
Personally,
just
I thought that.
chose.
I had that thought too. Like in my head, I'm like, maybe he
Yeah.
thinks that like they just won't notice.
Yeah, and you know what happened was the camera crew got lost on the course, so there was barely any cameras anyway.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So most of the time we were running, we were completely by ourselves. So I think the only way they saw it is because Fessy's GoPro thought that he went the wrong way. Like no one else would have known.
Okay.
Yeah, no one else would have known. The GoPro knew. So,
Oh, no.
but that's what they were watching us through because the whole camera crew got lost.
Well, it's tough. Those cameras are. You'd think at like it's 2023, like they'd have an easier camera to maneuver with.
Yeah,
They
no.
got them. These cameras are like
People
this
were
big.
chasing us with iPhones.
Really.
Yeah, because the camera crews were lost. They
Wow.
couldn't find the trail.
You know?
That they set up.
Yeah, that they set up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they just made it seem. Yeah, they just made it seem like you showed up and just were like hesitating, and well, and she did. She just got right into it.
Yeah, she went behind me.
That's a little bit of experience, but
Yeah,
you
but
know,
And you know, I think it shows that Desi has a little bit of that to her.
she had a reason to win.
Right.
For me, my focus was getting to the final, right? So I
Yeah.
had already achieved my goal. And I was like, oh, well, now I'm here. I might as well figure out, you know, let's try to win. But Desi had a reason to win. And good on her, you know.
Speak
but
on that. Oh, you talking about her redemption?
her redemption, I think, like personal things, like the season that she's in life.
Yes,
like,
yes.
That win is very meaningful to her.
fiscally, financially,
yeah, I think fiscally,
okay.
very meaningful for her.
For sure.
So it's like, all right, but it's a learning lesson. I always learn, like, you know, the first time I do things, like even though I was out first on the first time I did the challenge, I learned so much just by being there. I learned like, okay, first of all, this game starts at the airport. It doesn't matter what's going on, doesn't matter anything. The moment they see you, people are making judgments, people are connecting with each other. Half these people already know each other. You got to move intentionally from the moment anybody lays eyes on you. That's very different from Survivor. You're not allowed to talk until the game starts, even though you're with each other for about a week. Like it's completely silent in Survivor until Jeff comes out and says, like, welcome to season whatever. So you're with these people at Ponderosa, you're sleeping outside in tents next to them, you're going to the bathroom next to them, and there's no talking whatsoever.
They took you to Ponderosa?
Ponderosa.
No, I call it Ponderosa.
Yeah, they send you that because they want to be able to watch you for a couple days and see if you're going to quit. So they put you in a tent, you live outside in a tent by yourself, you know, and basically they just watch you for a few days. And they're watching everybody. Everybody's just watching each other. And if you look like you're about to break, they will pull you before production starts and they'll replace you with an alternate.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about Survivor, because we've heard couple stories from Michelle, and you know I don't watch it, and I know you don't really watch it
I've
either.
tried. I've watched a
Yeah.
few seasons, but I never like for some reason
It's hard
like
to get into.
I never like it never grabs me. Whereas like the challenge, maybe obviously I was on it, so
Yeah.
that's different. But Big Brother, again, I know people on it, so I'm
Yeah.
sure if I went back and watched like a couple of your guys' seasons from from Survivor, I would probably be like, oh, okay, like I know them, I've met them, I can watch this now. For me,
Yeah.
that like is a huge draw, you know. So,
Yeah.
but anyways, like it is as bare bones as it looks.
That concludes the free preview of the Zach Nichols podcast.
So go to Patreon and subscribe to see the rest of the shit that we talk.
Go do it now.